What's up, y'all? Thank you for joining me. It's good to be back. If you've been here before and you're a subscriber, you know I haven't posted for quite a while, probably since last summer. I'll explain that later in another video if I have time, but today what we're going to be doing is restoring the headlights on this 2005 Acura RSX. And funny enough, it actually just rained here, so the headlights don't look that bad right now. What we're going to be doing, instead of spending like $100, $200, $300 on some clear lenses, which you might even be able to get them a little cheaper for a 05 RSX, but even cheaper than that, about $9 in supplies, maybe $13, because the clear coat has actually gone up in price. I've noticed is about $9 to make these headlights look great, almost like we just bought a set of clear lenses. We're going to be using high grit sandpaper. This sandpaper, actually, if you can see, this sandpaper is actually meant for finishing. Like if you just painted a car and it has orange peel, this is meant as really high grit to get a super glossy look on your paint. Or you can use this for headlights and things of that nature, and you can really clean them up, make them super smooth, clean up any dirt that's been trapped on the top surface. And this cost about $4, maybe $5. Next, we're gonna be using some soapy water, as Chris Fix likes to say. And this stuff, I mean, just get a spray bottle from the dollar store, and I'm just using some dish soap. I do have car detailing soap and stuff like that, but some regular dish soap, perfectly fine. And a sponge. We're going to be wrapping the sandpaper around the sponge so we don't get any low spots from sanding from our hands, because our hands, as you can see, they aren't flat and they're pretty hard compared to a sponge. So when you're sanding with your hand, you can, all these little divots, those can leave lower spots where you're sanding, and it can kind of mess up your finish. So using a sponge, just wrap it around a sponge, do wonders. So we're going to get to it. Yeah, we're going to start with the lowest grit. So I think the lowest grit on these is 1,000 grit, and then we're gonna work our way up. We're gonna do like 2 or 3 passes of each grit, and we're gonna make the headlight nice and wet with a soapy water. And that's the basis of wet sanding. Make sure not to apply too much pressure, not to work too much in one area, and yeah, just work your way through the grits. And once we're done with that, we're gonna hit it with some clear coat.
So first things first, we want to clean off the headlight thoroughly. We want to get all the grime, the bugs, and the dirt out of the headlight. We definitely don't want to be sanding this stuff into the headlight, because it'll just make things worse. It'll make the headlight even more foggy and more yellowed. So now we're going to take our masking tape and tape off all the edges of our paint, because you definitely don't want that sandpaper, even high grit and wet sanding, you don't want that sandpaper touching your paint. It will make your paint hazy and it'll look like your paint is faded. You don't want to create more work with such a simple job like doing your headlights. So once we have things taped off and cleaned off, we're going to take our 1,000 grit over our sponge and our wet soapy water and just work from left to right. And you want to get your motion going in a singular horizontal motion. You don't want to swirl your hands. You don't want to create circles in your headlights, because your final effect will have swirls in the finish. right here I'm just using a little bit of plain water and a little bit of window cleaner from Griot's Garage. The window cleaner is slightly alcoholic, but not alcoholic enough to damage anything, so that's good. And just make sure you dry everything off super thoroughly. Here's a little trick I like to use. Just use a little bit of plain water and spray it over the area that you just sanded, and it gives you just a little bit of a hint of what it's going to look like once the clear hits it. It lets you know if you need to do any more sanding or if it's going to look nice once the clear hits it. Now, the most fun of it all, we get to tape everything off. And just like before, you want to get right up on the edge. Make sure you tuck those corners. Use your fingernail or a plastic knife or just anything to tuck it right up in that corner. If you look up in the left-hand corner of the screen, you can see a massive storm cloud forming, going across the right side of the screen and blocking out the entire sun. And you definitely want to get the whole area, like the hood, the bumper, and everything. Get that all super covered up because this overspray will definitely affect your paint and you don't want that happening.
Your love is what I need.
So drop an L in the comments for me for completely getting everything prepped, taping off my car in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, getting ate up by mosquitoes just for it to storm on me. I thought I was going to be able to pull it off in time. If I worked a little bit faster, if I had like 10, 15 more minutes, I would have had it done and it would have been dried enough to just been fine in the rain. I think it actually did dry enough that the rain isn't going to really affect it much. There was a little bit of, I guess you could say, a run. This clear coat comes really fast out of the can. So my first coat on the passenger side, I did get a little bit of a bubble, not really a run, but a bubble. This clear coat likes to bubble up. So that did settle a little bit down as it was drying. No biggie. So I had to sand that out a little bit anyway, so I'm not too worried if there are a couple little water droplets in the clear coat. It is clear coat, so just knock it down, put some more clear coat on. I really hope the tape job I just did is going to last because that's a pretty dope tape job I just did. It covered everything. Everything was good from overspray. As you can see, it was a little bit windy out, so we tried to get everything covered, but it already sounds like things are slowing down. This is just another summer day up in the Northeast. This is what it does. It'll be extremely nice out like when I started this, or at least went outside to start this. As soon as I went outside to start this, it started to get gray, but yeah, anyways, just gonna wait this out. It should be a quick shower. If not, we'll have to pick it up tomorrow, retape everything, sand a little bit, but yeah, if it's just a quick shower, we'll go back out, dry things off. But yeah, everything's coming along well and we'll get back to spraying soon. So back at it again today. As you can see by me squinting, it's actually quite nice out today. So fortunately, we're gonna be able to lay this clear with no issues, no worry about rain. Use that as a lesson. My mistake is if you see some gloomy clouds, don't even try to paint. I was just trying to fit something in instead of doing other work because I'm waiting on parts and stuff and inspections and selling a car, just blah, blah, blah. I had free time and I wanted to do this, so I probably should have just waited. Today, as you can see, gorgeous outside. So we got the headlights down to 25 again. We stripped all the clear coat off again just because I didn't even feel like keeping it on. It had a little bit of, it didn't settle right because obviously it rained on it right after before it could settle. So it didn't settle right and there was a little bit of a cloudy mark here, which is totally gone now. So now we have everything covered and only took about 15 minutes, not too bad. And we're just going to do 2 coats of this clear coat. It's a Rust-Oleum acrylic lacquer. I'm not sure if this is my favorite, especially for $9. I'm sure you could get better automotive clear, but this was in the automotive section and there was like literally only satin clear at Walmart. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and spray 2 coats on each. I like to start with the edges and then go in with the center. Okay, so we got 2 coats sprayed on each headlight, and the first coat was kind of just a dusting coat, and the second coat was kind of like a hard, more wet coat. It was really hard to do with that can. I probably won't ever buy that primer again. Don't use that Rust-Oleum. I would suggest getting like a 2K primer, or not primer. I would suggest getting a 2K clear or something along that line, something that's high quality. Definitely don't go to Walmart. It was in a pinch. I decided to grab some clear while I was grabbing the other stuff, but as you can see, it actually turned out really well. There is a little bit of dry spraying. It's a bit windy outside, and if I come real close, try to keep my hair out the way, I'm not sure if you can see it, but that little waviness, it actually, for my eye, not the camera, it looks like a little bit of cracking. That might be inside the headlight. I'm not totally sure, so no biggie. I didn't expect for these to be totally perfect. I just wanted them to be a whole lot better than they were, and as you can see, I mean, it speaks for itself. Definitely a whole lot better. And these will still get like a 2000 and 2500 grit sand, wet sand, and buff as well. So there's that headlight. And then this one, in my opinion, turned out even better. Still a tiny bit of dry spray. As you can see, like, it is a lot of glare right now because there's beams of light shining through the cloud, but you can still see a little bit of dryness. Really no biggie with clear coat. All you have to do is wet sand and buff it. So everything turned out a whole lot better than if I would have just left it, and I'm happy with this. So yeah, that's about it. As you can see, they're nice and shiny. These look a whole lot better on camera, and this is before everything even settled and dried. Once we get everything wet sanded and buffed, they're gonna look even 10 times better than they do now. So it's as simple as that, and go ahead, try it out yourself. It only costs around 15 bucks.